Welcome to Big Bugs Gaming, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe. Cheers. So Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands open beta has been open for the last few days. And like me, I'm sure a lot of you have been absolutely smashing it to get a feel for this a big open environment. And when I say big, I mean we've got a small portion of the map, and even that is massive. So I'm really hyped about this game coming out. However, I do have a few criticisms that I'd like to sort of talk about, and a few things that I thought were absolutely brilliant in the game. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the actual squad play. When you're playing with friends or whatever, it felt absolutely amazing. You can sort out what kind of mission you want to do. You can work out how to do that mission. You can work out who should be in what position and who's stronger at sniper, who's good at general scout in the area. And you can run in and, like this situation that you can see here, we're going to rescue this guy and then we're going to get him back to safety. So general squad play with a good squad or some friends is absolutely amazing. However, the character that you use does feel a little bit clunky at first when you use him, but this soon sort of wears off and you get used to how he plays. However, one thing I really would like to cover is the camera angles. The camera angles on this game can be tragic at times. They're really, really bad, especially when you're a passenger in a vehicle. You'll probably get out of a vehicle if one of your teammates are driving and feel quite seasick, if I'm honest, especially if you're in choppers or aeroplanes. I can understand that you want to look around and check out this beautiful environment, and it is an amazing environment to game in. However, the camera angles can be really bad, especially when you're entering buildings and going towards enemy AI. I always felt whilst entering a building that the enemy AI had the upper hand on me. If you've played the game, you'll understand exactly what I mean by that. The other side of it is also helping the rebels out. Now, helping the rebels, you'll do your best to take over an area, whether it be a petrol station, a warehouse, whatever it might be, and they then come in afterwards, after you've cleared it and you've collected your intel and your skill points or whatever, and then you go back a few minutes later and the rebels have lost it to the cartels again. Now, the cartels being our enemy, I found this quite frustrating in the way of you sort of do your best to clear it for them. You're supposed to be helping them out, but you can't help the rebels if the rebels aren't helping themselves, right? The other thing is, whilst I'm talking about the rebels, which are obviously the guys we're helping, on some missions you have to free them from like a caged environment. When you free them, you've stealthed up, you've helped to free them, only for them to come running out the cage, pick up a gun and then start running and gunning, which completely screws up the stealth mission, and this is really, really annoying. The other thing I want to talk about here is the weapons. Now, the weapon customization on this I found okay. There wasn't a lot of customization regarding the equipment that we picked up, being that it was the beta. There wasn't a lot of stuff. There was an extended barrel and a sight, but you can do all that yourself. You can do the scope, the trigger, the magazines, underbarrel, rail, barrels, muzzle, flash, etc. You can customize all of this sort of stuff, so I'm hoping this game's going to really live up to it, and when we see the full game released in a week's time, that we'll get a real feel for what we can do with some of these weapons. The silencer is OP. I did not take the silencer off once, I don't think, to be fair, purely because it works so well. You can also customise your camos on your kit and things like that. You can get like the little grenade launcher underneath the gun, which you can see there. Regarding the camos on the players, I didn't feel that they were active enough. I felt that the camos, like if you're in, say, green combat gear for the jungles, then when you go into the open snowlands, you should stand out a mile. And I didn't feel that it had any effect on the game on what you was wearing, and maybe that could be something for the future that maybe Ubisoft can look at. Generally, the game felt to me a bit Far Cry 4. I described it to a friend as Far Cry 4 meets GTA meets The Division. That was how I would describe it. Your character movement is very clunky, like I said. But generally the game, it was a brilliant game. I've enjoyed the beta and I'm glad I've pre-ordered it and I am looking forward to the game. However, there was a few things that I didn't like. A typical example is when you're collecting materials in multiplayer. So you imagine you've got you and 3 friends around you and you're going to go tag you tag the oil barrels or you tag the computer for the rebels to then later on come and get. But rather than just one player tag it, you all had to tag it. And I didn't really see the point of that when you're in a multiplayer gameplay. I think one player should be enough to tag it for everybody. But that's just my opinion. As long as they're in that area. I mean, if you're in that area of the little town and one player tags it, it should count for all. That was a little bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie. The other thing that I would love to see is when one of your teammates get downed, it would be nice if you could drag them into cover before you heal them. I found this quite frustrating at times, especially when there was quite a few gunmen around and one of your teammates got in a bit of a sticky situation and got put down. It would have been nice just to be able to drag him over a wall and then revive him maybe. Just a little touch. You know, it's not a major, but I think I'd like to see that if I was given the option. I'd like also, whilst we're talking about things like that, the option to have a couple more takedown animations. The takedown animation's fine, but it'd be nice if there was a couple more, you know, just as an option, maybe something that we can look at for the future or what, I don't know. That would be amazing. Now, it's been well documented on all the forums and things about the vehicle controls and the way that they drive or fly, etc, etc. Some of the vehicles I found okay, if I'm honest. I had to use the handbrake a hell of a lot, which I quite enjoyed. Drifting around in a V8 4x4 I thought was amazing. But I think for me, what destroyed the vehicle, sort of the way they fly or the way they drive, again, was that dodgy camera angle that used to come up. I think some of the camera angles just need a tweak in my opinion, but generally the game isn't going to drive like a Formula 1 racer or a sim racer, you've got to remember that. But you can see they're quite glitchy when you're flying them. I really especially enjoyed on this game going up as high as we could in an helicopter and just free falling down before we hit our parachutes and went into certain areas. Generally the game I found absolutely amazing and I'm really excited about the release, guys, like I said to you. There's a few little bits and bobs, like the grenades felt a bit weird, a bit strange, but again, maybe that was just me. I do, however, feel the need for some sort of anti-air weapon, an AA weapon, like an RPG or something, because some of those enemy helicopters get a little bit frustrating at times and make you feel like you're going to scream. All in all, if I had to rate the game out of 10, I'm not sure at the moment. I'd have to see after the beta. There's a few little glitches around the game which I expect on a map this big. I'd like to obviously see more kit and things like that. Maybe if you could set up a kit for each environment that you go in, like if you go into snow mountains, be able to wear white kit. Go into the deserty areas, wear a desert kit. I know you have got that option to change them, but you should be able to save that loadout so you can just get changed straight away rather than have to go in and change it all, etc, etc. I do particularly love the game, like I said. Really looking forward to it coming out. But I mean, everyone, each to their own. A lot of people have got different things. I'm only making a 10-minute video on this, so you know, I could go on and on and on, but I don't want you to think that I'm slagging the game off, because that really isn't the case. In the couple of days that I've played it with friends, I've really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I love the whole concept of the game. I'm glad Ubisoft went down the road of the style of game that they have, and not like a COD or anything like that. The only other thing I really do want to sort of moan about is the ability to turn off the audio. Now, in particular, the music. I haven't been able to turn it off, which I found particularly frustrating, especially when trying to live stream the game and maybe promote it for Ubisoft. I don't get paid by them, but I can't do that when I'm getting copyright strikes, etc. But maybe that's just a selfish thing, I'm not sure. That's all I've got to say, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like, take care. Peace.